right, I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Ruach HaKodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is You Get Out of the Truth What You Put Into It. And pretty much this is a lesson that's inspired by a video I was watching probably about a half hour ago or so. Elder Apostle Rakah was doing the lesson, and it was entitled Stay Strong. And pretty much he was going into, different situations that brothers deal with, whether it's mentally or physically, that, has, no matter what, we have to knuckle down, and fight in this fight, you know what I mean? So in there he said, you get out of the truth what you put into it, which are things that we've actually, spoken about before. So from time to time use the analysis of the gym. When you go to a gym, you could, think in your mind, everything that you want to do, what you want to accomplish, and you could be diligent in your mind. But if you don't actually pick up the weights and get involved, then that means that it's only going to exist in your mind. It's not going to exist, in your actions. This is why the Apostle James said, faith without works is dead. He says, show me your faith without your works, and I'll show you my faith by my works. And that says a whole lot, because another saying is action speaks louder than words. So it doesn't matter what you think in your mind. It matters what the action that you take is, and that's why, the name of the lesson is You Get Out of the Truth What You Put Into It. Salakia. So I got just two precepts, actually maybe three. One that came to mind as, as the Spirit had me introduce the lesson, which matter of fact, I'll start off with that. This is the book of Romans chapter 8. And I'll start at 33. It's a good spot to start. Who shall lay anything to the charge of the Most High's elect? Right, and that's key today, because you have a lot of individuals trying to point the finger, at the men of the Lord, and trying to accuse them of, doing this and that or the other. But at the end of the day, it says it is the Most High that justifies. So, if we be a part of the elect, which we say we're the hopeful elect, you can't lay anything to our charge, because it's the Most High that judgeth, justifieth. And plus, the scriptures say, who art thou that judgest another man's servant? To his master he standeth or falleth. So it says, who is he that condemneth? It is Yahushua that died, yea, rather that is risen again, who is even at the right hand of the Most High, who also maketh intercession for us. So it's Yahushua that's on the right hand of the Lord, making intercession for us. Whenever we go off, whatever the case may be, Yahushua is always there, on behalf of us, speaking, in our behalf, because we physically can't be there because we're in the flesh, and our presence really can't be there because we're in these corrupt bodies. So the only way the Heavenly Father Yahweh sees us is through His Son Yahushua. Yahushua has to be there, to remove our iniquities in these filthy bodies, so that the Heavenly Father could bestow favor upon us. It says, then it goes on to say, who shall separate us from the love of Yahushua? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword? Right, so none of these things will be able to separate the elect from the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, no matter how tragic or how hard it may get, whether it's spiritual or whether it's physical, whether it's, things that go on in a person's mind, things that go on physically in somebody's body, from ailments or whatever the case may be, or both. Because some brothers are dealing with both. They're dealing with the mental hell from these demons bombarding their minds and their thoughts, and also physical hell from different ailments and things that they're going through. You know? So if brothers be a part of the elect, nothing can separate us from the love of the Lord. Nothing, no matter what it may be. Because the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, is going to put a spirit. It's like the elect are in a trance, in a righteous trance of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. So it goes on to say, as it is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. Correct. Because at any time we could be taken out. We could be taken out by people in the world, accident, you know, choking on a chicken bone, whatever the case may be, you know, whatever. That's why them demons jump on people to, you know, try to start shit and, you know, try to get us riled up, you know, to get carnal, because they want, you know, they want harm to come upon us. They don't want us to be, you know, walking around serene, you know, walking around undisturbed, because we're coming against, you know, the very heart of the wickedness of this world. So you best better believe that them demons are not gonna, you know, allow us to rest, you know, in this demonic ass kingdom. So as long as brothers are cursing these devils out, whether they're physically or spiritually, them demons are gonna come against brothers. You know, they did it to all the righteous men of the Lord, and they're gonna continue to do it till the end. Yahushua, when he was fasting for them 40 days, it wasn't just the last day that Satan came to him. He was being plagued the whole time. Demons was plaguing him the whole 40 days. And at the very end, when he was at his weakest point, that's when Satan came, you know, to try to drop the bomb on him. But he spiritually flipped it on Satan, and eventually he made it through. And after Satan disappeared, then the angels came and ministered unto him to help him, you know, because he was at a weak point at that time. And these are things that are written for our learning. So if we go through those things, and there be times when we get weak, we have the scriptures as a strength, as a comfort to lean upon, you know, because we're all in the flesh. King David said it best, man at his best state is altogether vanity. So if man at his best state is altogether vanity, what is man in his low state? You know, the vanity of vanities. It says, as it is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. We are accounted as sheep for the slaughter. Correct. And sheep for the slaughter are not acting big and bad, you know, popping off, talking shit. They're brought before, you know, the slaughter quietly, and they die quietly. Salakia for that. Please forgive me, I'll be sipping a little water from time to time. It says, nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors. Why? Because the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua has given us that spirit to be able to conquer these things. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to. Why is it that Jake in the world can't conquer the world? Because the Lord hasn't given them that spirit. But now the ones that are a part of the elect, eventually, once they get activated, then they're going to have, you know, that spirit. Then they're going to have that will, the willpower to resist, to fight. It says, through him that loved us. And that's the key. It doesn't matter how mentally strong, physically strong someone is. It matters if the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is with them. That will give them the will and the strength, the inner fortitude as well as the exterior fortitude to resist these things. Because it's not of us. That's why it says, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, let not the mighty man glory in his might, so on and so forth. Because at the end of the day, it's of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, which gives us the will, the ability, the fight, the drive, the vehemence, the zeal to continue on. It says, for I am persuaded that neither death nor life nor angels nor principalities, because sometimes angels can appear and they could be righteous angels or they could be wicked angels. And the angel could appear and say shit to you, you know, that's negative, which could be a demon, negative, and you're already feeling down and out, and then that doesn't help, you feel even worse. But even that can't sway the elect of the Lord away from the Lord. It says, nor principalities, and this is a hierarchy of demons that are sent out for the purpose of, plaguing people mentally. It says, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, right? Powers being these governments, nor things present, things that are here, within our presence in this present time, nor things to come, or things that come a day later, a week later, a month later, a year later, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of the Most High, which is in Yahushua, our Lord. Right. And when shit is hard, that's the time to knuckle up. Pray, hope, and wait for the Lord. Scriptures say, cast thy burdens upon the Lord, because at the end of the day, there's nothing that we could do about it. We can't change anything. The only thing we could do is pray and hope and wait for the Lord to give the blessing and the healing power, to help us. And in whatever situation we may find ourselves in. I'm just speaking in general, because I know each individual out there, whether it's a brother, sincere brothers or sincere sisters out there, everybody goes through whatever they go through, on their own. Scriptures say that the Lord don't put more on a man that he can bear. He knows, how much inner fortitude we have and how much we can bear. The thing is not to destroy us. The thing is to build us up, even though it doesn't feel that way at the time. You can feel hopeless. You can feel anger. You can sometimes feel betrayed. Like, man, I'm giving my life for this man, and this what I get. But this is all part of, the fighting that flesh. Because the scriptures already tell us, when you come to serve the Lord, prepare that soul for temptation. So why should it be strange to us? Like the Apostle Peter said, beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is a trial, as if some strange thing happened unto you. But the flesh is like, man, this is my reward for, but the spirit is like, nope, well, remember what the Lord said. Scriptures say so-and-so and such, and this, that, and the other. This is a constant battle. It's a war that's been waged. A spiritual demonic war that's been waged on the elect of the Lord. And if we're going through it, then that means we must have a chance to be, a part of the elect. All right, so now let's go from there to one of the main precepts that I have. And that's in the book of 1 Corinthians 9. I'm sorry, not 1 Corinthians 9. Is it 1 Corinthians 9? Yes. Let's start off there, and then I got another precept that we're gonna, Lord's will, read the whole chapter, because the whole chapter is pretty intense. It's speaking about something physical, but the Apostle Paul is using it to reflect the spiritual. Because every situation you deal with, Salakia, every situation you deal with can be applied spiritually. So 1 Corinthians chapter 9, and I'll start at 23. And this I do for the gospel's sake. Right, the Apostle Paul said, I endure all things for the elect's sake, that I might be partaker thereof with you. Right, because our job is to what? To minister this word in the hopes that when the Lord comes back, he'll deliver us too, with the ones that are receiving the message, as we receive the message, and have the same hope in us. This is why the Apostle Peter said, when somebody asks you a question, you give them answer according to the hope that is within you, of salvation. Because at the end of the day, Everything that's done, that we do, is done for what? For salvation purposes. Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize. So run that you may obtain. So everyone that's running in a race, they all run together to receive a prize. So it says, so run that you may obtain. And the Apostle Peter said, give diligence to make your calling and election sure. And then it gives you a whole list of stuff prior to even saying that in the 10th verse. If you do this, you add this, you add faith to this, and you add this to that, and you add that to this, and that to this, and this to that, that. And at the end of it all, give diligence to make that calling and election sure. Because if you do all these things on that list, then you receive the prize in so many words. It says, and every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Because ultimately, what are we striving for? For the mastery. To master what we've been taught, what we're dealing with, this walk that we walk in, right? To become temperate in all things. Because the word master also means what? Teacher. In Spanish is maestro. So before you can become a teacher, you have to go through disciplines. You have to go through different stages of learning and building. You have your ups and downs. You have your falls. You have your ups and your downs. You have the times when you going straight through it. There's other times when you're battling, like feels like you're going uphill. But nevertheless, those are all, the rite of passage to become a teacher, to receive salvation. Then he goes on to say, every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now, when you look up the word temperate, for those of you that haven't done that, when we go to the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse, what verse was that? 25. And you look up that word temperate. Matter of fact, let's look up the word mastery. Agonizomai. To enter a contest, contend in the gymnastic games, to contend with adversaries, fight. And what are we fighting? Mainly spiritual demons. These people that come up, whether they're Christian or whether they're just grimy individuals in the street, that come and do and say certain things that irritate, agitate, this is all a fight. It's a struggle. Because we wrestle not against flesh and blood. So those people that come up with different doctrines, those are demons that's on them, trying to provoke us to either try to pull us away from the truth or try to provoke us into a confrontation or fight or whatever the case may be. That's how them demons do. It says metaphorically, to contend, struggle with difficulties and dangers. Right. Because it's not easy. This is why the next word, which is temperate, goes into the word discipline, which we're going to get that, Lord's will. To endeavor with strenuous zeal, strive to obtain something. So it's a fight. It's a struggle. But that fight and that struggle is building us up mentally, spiritually, for the greater battle that's coming ahead. When you go to war, you have to train. Those are the training grounds. And once you get to the war, that's where all of the skills that you learn are supposed to come out and help you in this struggle that's going down. Same thing with the spiritual war, right? So the next word is temperate, and the word temperate is akainos. Nope, that's the wrong one. The word temperate is ekratuomai, to be self-controlled, continent, which means what? Discipline. You're training for a boxing match. Certain foods you refrain from. You refrain from women. You refrain from certain passions. You put your body through rigorous training, conditioning, so that when you're in the ring with that individual, all of that hell that you went through training kicks in the ring, because now you can move a lot easier. You're not as winded as you would have been if you didn't train. No matter how good you are, You always have to train. No matter how deep you are in the knowledge, you always have to train, which is what? Keep the wheels turning with the truth. You know? It says, in a figure drawn from athletes who, in preparing themselves for the games, abstained from unwholesome food, wine, and sexual indulgence. Right. Why? So that their bodies can perform at their maximum. And that's what it's about. So when we go back to what the Apostle Paul said, he said, and every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things, meaning he's disciplined. Just like in this truth. And one thing that this truth teaches us is what? That the Lord chastens us. But he doesn't chasten us to destroy us. He chastens us to make us better. But physically, you feel, incapacitated. You feel like, damn, man, the fuck, but it's all for a purpose and for a reason. And when the time comes, that will be revealed. So, oh, that's why I went through all of that shit. For this moment, wow. That's when you have that wow moment, or as they call it, an epiphany. All right? It says, so that's why it says, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. We must go through these things. And in going through these things, we still have to function. This is why prayer is so important. Constantly praying to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai to give us an inner fortitude, the drive, the zeal to continue on. It says, now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, right? Because they do it, they put their bodies through rigorous training to get a corruptible crown. But we an incorruptible, which is what? The kingdom of heaven. Getting to the finish line, the victory. The victory. To be able to raise our hands like this. Kwam Yashala! We made it. That's what this whole training is about. Mental, physical stress and hell to make it to the finish line. To build up our endurance to make it to that finish line. Lord's will. Right, like the brother put, but he that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. Matthew 24:13. 1 Thessalonians 5:17. Pray without ceasing. That's it. And that's a very short verse, but it says a whole lot. Pray without ceasing. Matter of fact, Ecclesiastes 2:4. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state. Why? Because that is what sets us up for what's coming. Now, use this in contrast and comparison. It's something the Spirit just put in my head just now. We're dealing with what we're dealing with. Complaining, of course. Upset. Nevertheless, still dealing with it. Praying to the Lord, please forgive us for, for whatever is going on in our minds. Right? But these people in the world, they're not experiencing these things. So what do you think is going to happen to them versus to us if we be the elect when all hell breaks loose? And they don't have a clue of what to do. They haven't been trained, mentally, with the truth. They haven't been brought up to speed. They haven't gotten the memo, spiritual memo of things that are coming. Jacob's trouble, the famines, the devastation that's coming, the martial law troops and all, what do you think what's going to happen to them? They're going to bug out. Now, brothers in the truth, and some of the sisters, they're going to be in a better space because mentally they'll be prepared for what's coming. So, this is what the Lord said was coming. So the Lord gave us the ability to brace for impact. These people are hidden for a straight up fatal collision without any warning. See? It says, I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air. Right. Because we're not just throwing punches. The purpose for training and sparring and all that is for what? To get your punches sharp, your combination sharp, build up your stamina in the ring. You're throwing punches, you're throwing, hooks and jabs and, uppercuts and all of that. You're learning how to bob and weave, being slick, with it. Philly shell your different defenses. Because when you go in the ring and you just start throwing punches, you're hitting the ref, you're hitting the corner, you're knocking out your corner man, your cut man, you're throwing punches, but you ain't even hitting the opponent. And meanwhile, he beating the shit out of you, but you still throwing punches everywhere. No. So when we doing this thing, we're doing it, with a skillful mindset of the truth, and what we throwing, what combinations we throwing, because it's not us that's speaking, it's the Spirit of the Lord that's speaking through us. So we throwing those spiritual combinations, to put Satan on his ass, which is in these people. And then we know that at the end of that fight, that battle, comes what? The victory, that uncorruptible crown. And if your mindset ain't on that, then I don't know what you're doing. You're in the wrong frame of mind. Now let's go to the other precept in the book of 2 Corinthians, this time the 9th chapter. And we're going to read the whole chapter, Lord's words. It's only 15 verses, but it says a whole lot. Now, the chapter is pretty much dealing with charity, gathering bounty from the different churches to take care of, the poor, take care of, certain churches and the needs of the Apostle Paul and other men that were rolling with him. But you can use this also in a spiritual sense of you making an investment into something that later on will pay off to your benefit. And you'll get a greater payoff later for sacrificing now. You see? 2 Corinthians 9:1. For as touching the ministering of to the saints, it is superfluous for me to write to you, right? Because the ministering to the saints is teaching them, but also, back then, there were certain ones of them that needed. Like even now, when brothers are hurting or in a jam, financially or physically, whether they need a hand, help or whatever, brothers are there for them, trying to help them out the best way they can. That's all a part of ministering to the saints. I ain't talking about you open up a soup kitchen, and any Jake out there that's homeless, you inviting them in to come eat. No. Because if that's the case, they'll only come to hear the word so they can get a plate of food, or so that they can get some money, or so that they can get a place to sleep, or so that they can get a job. It ain't about that. It's about teaching the truth so that the elect out there can wake up when the Lord taps them in the brain with this knowledge. For I know the frowardness of your mind, for which I boast of you to them of Macedonia, that Achaia was ready a year ago, and your zeal hath provoked very many, right? Because they see by your actions, like, damn, man. Like one thing, Barakatah Yahweh Shemel Shai, for the spirit that he's given to GMS, the Great Millstone, because although a lot of those camps out there don't agree with us, and a lot of them can't stand us, one thing they have to say is they see the zeal and the vehemence, that the Lord has put upon us, to move, so that this word could go forward. Like the word expedient means to step out, to move forward. Everything to make the truth move in a forward motion. No stagnation. Constant working, constant walking, constant running, constant moving, constant edification, constant exhortation. And that's the spirit the Lord gave to us. It says, and the Apostle Paul was saying that about them, because their zeal provoked very many. It was through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shemal Shai that put the spirit on Apostle Tahar to say, to push, the year to push, do videos. From the very moment we got on YouTube, damn near, till now, constant pushing video, to where it made all of those other camps that talk shit about us step their game up. Why? Because through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and the spirit he put upon us and the zeal that he put upon us, all of those other camps were provoked to do the work. They had no other choice. They saw the body of work. They saw the spirit abounding. And they jumped on board whether they agreed with us or not. And it's a beautiful thing. Hey, like the Apostle Paul said, if I may by any means provoke to emulation them which are my flesh. It says, yet have I sent the brethren, lest our boasting of you should be in vain. In this behalf, that as I said, you may be ready, right? Because he wanted to make sure, he knew what they were capable of, but he wanted to make sure that they were on point. So we sent men before to make sure that they were prepared. Right? So it goes on to say, least haply, if they of Macedonia come with me and find you unprepared, we that say not ye should be ashamed in this same confident boasting. Right. Therefore I thought it necessary to exhort the brethren that they will go before unto you and make beforehand your bounty, meaning get the collection going, you know, to help out. Oh, so don't worry about it. Them brothers over there in Macedonia, and I mean in Corinth, they on point. You know, if we ask them for anything, they're gonna give it to us. You know, they've been helping us. They've been doing this, that, and the other. Because that was a big thing. He had a problem with a lot of, you know, with the Corinthians, because they had a problem with giving the Apostle Paul money. But after the Apostle Paul cursed him out, you know, they started to start doing the right thing. But even in that, the Apostle Paul had to send somebody ahead of time, make sure that whatever it was that they needed was ready, so that when the people from Macedonia came, they would be like, you know, he wouldn't look bad. It says, whereof you have you had noticed before, that the same might be ready as a matter of bounty and not as of covetousness, right? Because you had a lot of them wicked Pharisees and Sadducees and other wicked Israelites, you know, treating the truth as a ATM, so to speak, you know, as a business, their business. You know, whenever they wanted money, they just get it, you know, for the hell of it, to spend it on cruises, you know, spend it on, you know, going out to fancy restaurants, taking this woman out and that woman out, you know, off of other brothers' dimes. Nah, man. Now, it's one thing if you got a date with a woman and you don't, you know, and your pockets are a little light, and the brother says, hey, you know what, brother, here's 50 or here's 100, you know, go have a good time. You know, that's one thing. But, you know, forget about it. Anyways, this is the point right here in the 6th verse. But this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly. So the bottom line in this verse, it encapsulates the title of the video of this lesson. You get out of the truth what you put into it. He that soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly. So what do you do when you sow? You're planting. So if you plant sparingly, let's say you have an acre. You know, I don't know how big an acre is. I will have to look it up. But, you know, let's say you have an acre and you only plant 3 or 4 seeds in a corner, and you're thinking, yeah, you know, those 3 or 4 seeds, this whole acre is going to be full. You over here, you know, like, yeah, I can't wait. You know, once the season comes in, I'm going to have this whole acre full of seeds. But you only put 3 or 4 seeds in there because you're being stingy. Then you come back during harvest and you might see 1 plant, if that. And you're like, what happened? Well, you sowed sparingly. So you're going to reap sparingly. Same thing in the truth. You're only just doing just enough to get by. Oh, the apostles watching, or the elders watching. Nobody watching. All right, sit back and chill. Oh, And thus saith the Lord. You know, doing shit for eye service. Because the brother's watching you. Because the brother got on you. Because the brother cursed you out. Now all of a sudden you're on fire to do the work. You're just doing just enough to get by. You're getting a D. You know, on your report card. Just enough to pass. Well, you sowing sparingly, guess what? You're going to reap sparingly. Matter of fact, let's look up that word sparingly. You know, because, you know, Jake think they're slick. They think they have, you know, they think they have everything sewed up. You know, they think that they're slick. They have a pattern, you know, and in that pattern, they only doing so much. Every time a brother's looking, boom, oh, you might not do a video for a week. Then all of a sudden, a whole barrage of videos come up. You know, now, if you know, let me say it this way. Some brothers do that because, you know, of their job situations or whatever the case may be. That's a different story. I'm talking about the guys that have the time and the opportunity and fucking healthy ass fucking bodies, and they ain't doing shit with the knowledge that they have. They got the knowledge in their goddamn napkin. Here it is, you sound of fucking body, sound of mind, you got the knowledge and you ain't doing shit with it. And then brothers that are fucked up and sick, that are trying to do the work, that are having a hard time doing the work, are fighting and striving to get the word out. You motherfuckers should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself. Motherfuckers that got, your mind is good, your fucking body is good, and you fucking bullshitting. You should be a goddamn ashamed of yourself. You got brothers that's sick as fuck, making you look bad, running circles around you with the work, with the word, and there's nothing wrong with you. Shit makes you sick, man. Just thinking about it. That's all right, because the Lord knows. The word for sparingly is menos, sparingly, stingily, abstemiously, which I don't know if that word goes to the word abstain. Let me just look up the word sparing, you know, in the offline dictionary. Just bear with me 1 second while this thing is moving a little slow. Sparing. Avoiding waste. Yeah. Let me see something. Let me see sparingly. To a meager degree or in a meager manner. Let me look up the word meager. Deficient in amount or quality or extent. See? You're just doing just enough. Because you think you're being slick. So what do you think is going to happen when the blessings come in? You get out of the truth what you put into it. You reap sparingly, you're going to receive sparingly. But on the other hand, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap bountifully. Now this is a brother that just throws his all in it, no matter what. No matter what he's going through, he throws all into it. What do you think is going to happen when the blessings come in? He's going to be showered with the love of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So let me get that bountifully. Bountifully. Got the wrong one. There's two okay, that's that. So let me get the other one. It's eulogia or eulogia, which is where you get the word eulogy, which is good. Praise, laudation, panegyric of Yahushua, the Most High, fine discourse, polished language. I must have hit something wrong. No, that's the one. Right, here it goes down here. By extension. Right here. Blessing, benefit. So it says, by extension, benefit or largeness, blessing of manner, bounty, fair speech. Let me see. Let me look up the word largesse. I don't know what that is. They got a definition of the word largesse. And then what I'll do is I'll look up the word bountifully in the largesse. A gift or money given as for service or out of benevolence. That's why Yahushua said, he said, he that have 10, give him 10 cities. Give him, because he said, to whoever has shall more be given. And whosoever have not, from him shall be taken away even that which he seemeth to have. See? So you get out of the truth what you put into it. A gift or money given as for service or out of benevolence, usually given ostentatiously. Liberality in bestowing gifts. But how's that scripture go? Matter of fact, let me get that. Let's go to the book of Micah. Bear with me 1 second. Micah chapter 3 and verse 8, I believe it is. Nope, that's not it. That's a bad precept though. What is it? Is that Micah? No, Malachi. Malachi chapter 3 verse 8. It says, will a man rob the Most High? Yet you have robbed me. But you say, wherein have we robbed thee? In tithes and offerings. Ye are cursed with a curse, for you have robbed me, even this whole nation. Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house. And prove me now herewith, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. So if you in this truth, reap sparing, sow sparingly, you're gonna reap sparingly. If you're just doing just enough to get by, guess what? When the time comes, you're just gonna get just enough. If that. You might get a big boot upside your head. So let me look up the word bountifully. In a bountiful manner, meaning plenteously, which is synonym, plentifully. Let me try bountiful. Yep, that comes up. Given or giving freely, right? So there will be not enough room to receive it. See? So you get out of the truth what you put into it. So moving on to the 7th verse. Every man according as he purposeth in his heart, so let him give. So this is talking about the bounty, the actual money that the Apostle Paul, the collection that he was collecting, but is also dealing with in the truth. What you put into the truth, how much of yourself you give to the truth. The Lord said, love the Lord with all thy heart, mind, and soul. Not grudgingly or of necessity, for the Most High loveth the cheerful giver. And the Most High is able to make all grace abound toward you, that you always having all sufficiency in all things may abound to every good work. You see? So when you throw yourself at the mercies of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua and do what he says, everything is at your disposal. All the blessings are at your disposal. And eventually they will come. Whatever it is that you need. You see? It says, as it is written, he hath dispersed abroad, he hath given to the poor, his righteousness remaineth forever. Now he that ministereth seed to the sower, both ministereth bread for your food. Right? Now check it out. And multiply your seed sown, which is what you've done, the work that you've put into this truth, right? And increase the fruits of your righteousness. You see? So it's talking about something physical with money, but also speaking about physically, what are you doing? What are you doing with the money of the truth, the scriptures that the Lord has entrusted you with? All of us, you know? What are we doing with that money? Because we've been entrusted with the money of the Lord, which is this truth, this knowledge, these words on these pages, the understanding, the true doctrine that was given to us for the management of this house. Whose house? Yahweh Bashem Yahushua's house. That's right. Being enriched in everything to all bountifulness, which causes through us thanksgiving to the Most High. You see? So that bountifulness is causing the thanksgiving to the Most High. Because everything that we do is all for the glorification of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Just like Yahushua, everything Yahushua did was all for the glorification of the Most High. He wasn't trying to get any accolades for himself. He wasn't trying to, make a name, make a mark for himself. He was all about the glorification of his Father. Just like we're about the glorification of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Whilst by the for the administration of this service not only supplieth the want of the saints, right, physically, spiritually, but is abundant also by many thanksgiving unto the Most High. Barakatah Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, for this knowledge, for this wisdom, this understanding, for the things that you provided for us, for the brotherhood, for the brethren, for the things that they've done for us, for the help that we receive, for the, brother was in the jam, brothers, came through in the clutch, helped them out. Brothers out there teaching the word. It's all for the glorification of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Whilst by the experiment of this ministration, they glorify the Most High for your professed subjection unto the gospel of Yahushua. Because we are fellow prisoners, fellow laborers, yoke fellows. We are prisoners in this thing together. We are prisoners to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. We don't belong to ourselves. We belong to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. It says, and for your liberal distribution unto them and unto all men. And by their prayer for you, right, which long after you for the exceeding grace of the Most High in you, thanks be unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushua for his unspeakable gift. It pisses you off, but you have to have those examples that this is a unspeakable gift given to us, and you have some individuals that are just letting it slip right through their hands without doing nothing about it. But it's because that's their lot to play. This is an unspeakable gift. This is a gift. The Lord could have gave it to anybody out there, but he gave it to us for some reason. And you got guys that are just sitting on it, bullshitting with it. But that's all right, because the Lord is going to take it from you and give it to somebody else that's going to put that into effect. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Till the next time I say shalom. Stay strong, keep the fight. Keep on enduring. You see what's happening. You see what's coming on the horizon. A lot of shutdowns. A lot of, funny shit's going on behind the scenes, and we're witnessing it right now. Shalom.